Hello, it's me in my bra with hair dye on my hair, updating my resume. And I just finished listening to Hayley Williams' episode of Good Hang with Amy Poehler, which, is a pod I've been listening to since it came out. I'm pretty sure episode 1 or 2 was Paul Rudd, which is why I first listened to it. And I've just continued listening because it's really nice. And it's the kind of podcast or show I would like to do, I think, some point in the future, just like structured but comfortable and funny and relaxed and nice and insightful. Like you get to know the guest in a deeper way. But it's really cool. I also just find it really nice listening to Hayley talk about the Warped Tour. That was a really big part of my life, and I wanted it to be. I sold my car, my beautiful Datsun 200B, represent, to go and chase this wild thing that was the Warped Tour. I went to see some emo and punk bands that at that point in time, which was 2006, I never thought they would tour Australia ever, because that genre never ever came here. So the fact that it does now, and the fact that I'm going to Good Things this weekend is pretty cool, right? It's like a whole festival of it that happens. Anyway, look, I loved it. I had such a great time at Warped Tour. I got very lucky. I met some of the most amazing women who are still so close to my heart, and I miss them every day. Maybe not every day, but I miss them a lot. So, look, I was really lucky. I worked with a female punk band, but I didn't realize at the time how mask that world was and how my femininity was used against me. I didn't realize, I was probably a bit too naive to realize that my age, I was 20 when I first went there, I think I knew people were trying to push me around, but I had a few good guys in my corner as well. There was a tour manager called Buddy who really looked out for me. A couple of the guys in some of the punk bands as well. But they were more protecting me from the shitty guy I was dating at the time. It wasn't really the world. That was a whole nother element of that, these weird relationships that happen within Warped Tour. But Hayley's story about Joan Jett and her being an influence. And I think when I first heard Hayley talking about Warped Tour and talking about not having any females on there as talent, only in the production office, I kind of got a bit butthurt initially, because I remember me and the band that I was working for, the Randys, were really, really aware of her being a young woman. Like, she was 14 at the time, and really aware of what she was in that machine that was happening. And I remember Sienna, the singer of the Randys, spent some time with her in a mentor capacity. I'm sure Larita and Laura were also there for her. I remember having conversations with her, and actually telling her about the band Killing Heidi, because there was a lot of parallels in terms of being so young when you're being discovered and becoming the face of this sound and genre and whatnot. So I also don't expect her to remember every interaction that she had on every Warped Tour, but there was definitely some more female representation on stage, that she might not even been interacting with a lot of them, but there was also a full female stage on the Warped Tour, and I'm pretty sure there still is. Anyway, I digress. One of the headliners of the 2006 Warped Tour was Joan Jett, and Hayley talked in Good Hang about meeting Joan Jett and how cool that was, and how she just made her feel like she belonged, and she was masked and strong but still sexy and feminine. And I had a job interview recently for a festival. Side note, didn't get the job, but anyway, and they asked me in that, what is my favorite festival experience? And I'd been to a lot of festivals before Warped Tour. I'd volunteered at festivals with my dad a lot before that as well. And I guess when I answered this question, it kind of was a similar story to Hayley's, which was really cool, where I was at a stage watching a band called The Casualties, and because I was into like punk then, and I felt somebody kind of come next to me and stand next to me, and I figured I didn't know who they were, because if they were, they would have said something to me. I'm very short, I stand out, even not in a crowd. And it was Joan Jett, and she kind of, I just heard this deep, gnarly voice kind of go, "Hey, these guys rock." And I turned and looked, I was like, "Yeah, they're really cool." And she was like, "Oh, where are you from?" And it was just this conversation. And from that moment, whenever I saw her at backstage or catering or a party afterwards, I kind of got that nod of acknowledgement. And I guess that made me know that I was okay, that I belonged, that I was part of that scene. I was welcome in that part of the world and the music industry. And yeah, I kept doing it for another 2 years after that. And if that was someone different, and I mean, I know this person's been talked about a lot, but like if that was, for instance, Fat Mike, who maybe would have stood next to me and told me to move, or God knows what else, I probably wouldn't have had such a colourful and fun career in music. So yeah, that was a long story. But yeah, cool.